Charles? Charlie!
I'm being creative. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some work to do.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
But first, a message from our sponsor.
You know what's BS? Having a wallet packed to the brim like George Costanza. But like any other problem from the 90s, it was solved with sleek slabs of futuristic alloys bound by synthetic fibers. It's Ridge Wallets! Ridge Wallets! Pack up to 12 cards into a variety of wallet styles and colors, like this black carbon fiber. I really love it, and apparently, so do 30,000 others. It even has a lifetime warranty and a 45-day test drive. There are a few money clip options you can attach, so you'll look pretty flush at the local casino or bowling alley. Head on over to ridge.com/Cinemassacre and use code Cinemassacre for 10% off your order. Wow, this sucked.
You didn't like Drop Dead Fred? I loved this movie as a kid. It's like, you know, if you have to explain to someone, it's kind of like Beetlejuice and The Mask kind of comedy combined with like a modern like Jojo Rabbit, like imaginary friend type movie with less Nazis. So I think like this was like my movie as a kid. I love this VHS tape.
See, I never even heard of, I heard of it when it came out because I remember seeing a trailer, and I remember the trailer showed the scene where he like smashes his face in the fridge. It has like this slapstick physics where his face just flattens, and I remember seeing the trailer and thinking that looked really cool, but ever since then I just forgot what the movie was and could never remember it. I confused it with Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
So, which is a classic.
Yeah, so basically I was always wondering what was that movie I saw with the weird guy who's like getting his face smashed, and I'm glad to have seen it now that the mystery is solved, and that's what the movie was.
Yeah, but it's tough because it did so many things that even things like The Mask and all these other cartoony movies did later, it kind of did first. And I feel like if you didn't, like, you know, I saw this before I saw The Mask or anything, so I was already into like the eyes bulging out and all that kind of stuff, or like the physics you're talking about, and
which is one scene, by the way, the face smash, like which really disappointed me. That never happens again anywhere else in the movie. But
yeah, they I don't think they had the budget for that kind of stuff like The Mask did.
It was a good special effect, but it's one scene. They weren't able to, I guess, afford to do that, you know, more often.
Yeah, most of the gags are more like something's flying around the room or something shrinks or gets bigger. Like there are more gags, but they're way more green screeny and kind of shitty looking.
Like when he's chroma keyed and he's like falling down the stairs, like it's just these really weird, like crappy effects. But then they have that one like amazing effect, and you're like whoa, like
yeah, it's definitely trailer bait. But I don't know. I felt this movie was excellent. It has an excellent cast. It has I forgot how you say his name, Rik Mayall. He's a UK actor. Clearly, he was in shows like Bottom, The Young Ones, which is way more adult. Blackadder. He was always in Rowan Atkinson stuff.
What's he like in the others? Because I don't know what his acting.
He's always slapstick and kind of over the top and crazy. He was in a.
This was one of the most annoying characters I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, that's the point. He's like an imaginary friend. You're not supposed to, like, everyone's supposed to hate him except for the girl.
And now, I thought Jim Carrey was annoying the first time I saw him, but then I warmed up to him. So I don't know if it's like an acting style that if I saw more of his stuff, I might know.
Was it his green suit or his orange crazy hair?
The crazy hair. Yeah, hair. What?
Oh, you're distracted. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I tried cutting my own hair because nothing's open. Hold on. Here, this will be less distracting. I'll wear a Blockbuster hat. Recently, he was in Man Down, which is a pretty funny UK show. And yeah, he died, unfortunately, in 2014, I think.
Oh,
he was
really?
like in his 50s. And guys like Alan Rickman and stuff went to his funeral. Like, he was pretty well known in England as an actor. So yeah, I thought he was great in this, but then he's paired with Phoebe Cates, you know, from Gremlins and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. America's sweetie. You know, she retired right after this movie and just started having kids and stuff like that. And I think she came back and acted in that Lego Dimension video game because they had like a Gremlins section in 2015. I think it was a Wii U game. I forgot what it was going on, but she came back and did that, but then she kind of disappeared again. So I don't know if we're gonna get we're probably not getting a Drop Dead Fred 2. Oh, and fucking Carrie Fisher's in this movie.
Carrie Fisher is in this movie. Yeah,
out of nowhere. It's like red short hair. Like like when I was a kid, I didn't recognize her, and I knew Star Wars.
She's a main character too. Like she's got a big part in this movie. So I think she's the best actor in the whole movie. He reminded me a lot of the Riddler because he's wearing green and he's got like orange, red hair, and the facial expressions and just really going big with the character. And especially the scene where he has a cane. It's like
which is funny because when he's wearing the tuxedo, that looks like the guys in Dumb and Dumber when they're at the gala as well. It's like they
so it's a Jim Carrey Riddler, like bringing it all around full circle here. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't just me because I looked into this. I'm like, is it just me or do I find this guy really annoying in this movie? And it seems like it's very common. Like people always say that this character is like extremely annoying.
I feel like if he's supposed to be annoying, I like that more because he's acting the part, you know?
Like I get that. I get the like supposed to be annoying thing. Like one of my favorite movies, Mad Mad World. Ethel Merman plays a character who's supposed to be annoying, but she's funny. Like she's so funny. But so I don't know what the secret ingredient is. What makes this one jarring to me? It maybe just be like a polarizing thing because like this is one of those movies where if you look it up on Rotten Tomatoes, it has two completely opposite responses. Where I think the critic score is 9% and the audience score is 77%. So it seems the audience looked at it pretty positively, but not the critics.
Yeah. But I guess let's start from, like, we'll just start the plot from the top and just hit the beats. It starts with story time where the mom's putting the girl to bed and she curses her out. It goes to a really cool animated open that's like kids drawing, like killing themselves, which is interesting.
Which was a really cool opening sequence with the crayons and everything. Like that's a cool opening.
We flash forward to the future. Phoebe Cates' character, Elizabeth, which some people call her Lizzie, some people call her Elizabeth. Pretty much she kind of has been catching her husband cheating on her, and her husband's kind of a controlling dickbag. He works at Jaguar. British car company, by the way. Maybe they funded the film. Yeah, and, so she has problems with her husband. She gets fired from her job where she's a court stenographer, which are, like, the people that take the court reporting. They type it, like, 300 words a minute or something like that on their special typewriter. So she gets fired from that for being late to her job because someone steals her car and all this crazy stuff happens. So she's pretty much forced to go live back at home because she's out of her husband's apartment and out of whatever. So she goes back to live with her overbearing mother. One thing leads to another, and she re-releases Drop Dead Fred from his captivity inside a pop-up box, which is actually a scary scene. And a few people have recut this movie trailer into like a horror movie.
"500 years ago, a mystical box was created. The key that unlocked the door to absolute evil.
The evil one reigns supreme! Hello, Jemima. Hello, Angelique. Hello. You're gonna die!
From one generation to the next, the descendants of its creator have been cursed.
I lost my money, my car, my husband.
Give me an axe! No, give me a chainsaw! I'm gonna slice them into tiny pieces!
Okay, this is one of those movies where it jumps back to the childhood and then jumps back to the present day, so it's like out of order. And sometimes that works. Like
I will say there are a lot of clever flashbacks where they show the little girl's hair being cut and then they wake up and she's in bed and she cut all her hair off and stuff like that. Like they do a lot of clever edits in this, but I understand if it can be annoying at times.
Yeah, I think if you're going to jump back and forth between two timelines, you better have a good reason and it better work. Because when it works well, it's great. But when it doesn't, I feel like I would have rather have seen her as a kid first, show us who Fred is, explain that he's an imaginary friend, and let's just see what her relationship with him is like, and then let's see her as an adult, and then when he comes back, it would make more sense. But instead, you just have no explanation, and then she meets this friend, Mickey, who starts talking about all these memories of pranks and stuff that used to happen as kids, and then she just randomly says, "Drop Dead Fred." And at first, I didn't know like the character was named Drop Dead Fred. I just thought she was telling somebody named Fred to drop dead. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? And eventually it all comes together, but I just thought that was a really shitty, sloppy way to introduce the whole thing.
Which, it's funny, like I watched a lot of the alternative cut to this film and stuff like that, like the bonus features and what was on the floor and whatever. And there's so many scenes with that guy and the girl who becomes her future husband or whatever, and they're childhood friends, and his daughter gets Drop Dead Fred implanted into her brain or whatever the hell it is. There's a lot of scenes with that and the husband and stuff like that, and stuff with her as a kid. So I feel like this thing was cut more out of order than it would have been. I'm not sure. I think this movie, people are rebooting a lot of stupid shit. I think they should reboot Drop Dead Fred. I'm ready for that. Pretty much Drop Dead Fred starts ruining her life and her mom's life. They get the dog poo all over the room, which is funny. You have the scenes where he's getting his face slammed in the fridge like you were talking about, as his neck's getting pulled out all the way. He does a recurring joke where he keeps going under girls' skirts, which probably wouldn't fly nowadays.
And that's also the scene where they use the eye bug out, which this was before The Mask, so they didn't have the special effects to pull it off as well. But, if you go from The Mask to Drop Dead Fred, it's, the effects don't hold up.
And basically you find out that Drop Dead Fred, as soon as he makes her happy, like she's happy again, he'll like go back and disappear. I'm not sure what he's been doing this whole time. I guess he's been trapped in that box, kept away from the other imaginary friends and whatnot. So yeah, he just has to make her happy, and then he's gone. Then the whole story is told in flashbacks. She sneezes all the time because she has allergies, and it blows him around the room, which is fun. There's a lot of hijinks in the film. And I guess that leads to the next plot point where she's going to win Charles, her husband, the douchebag guy, back, who's still cheating on her with that Annabelle girl that you see later. And she's going to do this by sweeping him off his feet at the wine gala that he's running, because I guess he runs a wine gala. And for a while, she decides to sleep at on her friend's houseboat, which is Carrie Fisher. And this is the first time I ever knew what a houseboat was when I was a kid, because I didn't know that was a thing. And nowadays I go to a bunch of marinas and stuff with Ryan, and we do boat stuff randomly, and we see them all the time now. But back then a houseboat was like weird, and one thing leads to another, and of course Drop Dead Fred and her sink it when they're trying to chase down Charles in a boat, which may or not have been him. And there's a great alternative scene where she's swimming in the water as the boat's sinking, like to get away, and he's walking on the water like fucking Jesus, like having fun as she's like trying not to drown. So after the houseboat sinks and blah blah blah, Phoebe Cates decides to go on a date with the guy she knew in the past, who ends up being her boyfriend in the future, and they destroy an Italian restaurant, which is actually pretty funny because no one can see, she has a wine glass or water glass, whatever, and Drop Dead Fred jerks her arm, she throws it across the room, and they start throwing plates around, and he starts getting into it, not knowing who Drop Dead Fred is. She's just crazy, and he really wants to be with her, so he keeps trashing the place because it's funny.
They definitely pull that joke a lot, which is a funny gag sometimes, where she's in the restaurant and Fred is making her do all this stuff. The movie that always comes to my mind where that gag is pulled off perfectly is Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. That's really funny. Which you know what? I love the concept. Actually, I like the idea that she had this imaginary friend as a kid, and then this imaginary friend comes back as an adult when she's having some kind of crisis or whatever. So I kind of like the concept a little bit. And I especially really loved one scene where all the imaginary friends were together, where she goes to a psychologist, and it's a child psychologist, but she's an adult going to see the psychologist, and then there's a waiting room where all the other parents are sitting around waiting, and all the imaginary friends are all playing with each other, only they can see each other, and everybody else is just sitting there in their seats casually while this whole circus is going on.
Yeah, and there's an alternative ending kind of scenes where he brings her to a dimension of imaginary friends, much like Little Monsters when Fred Savage goes, Howie Mandel's character brings him to the world like that, or Monsters Inc. where Boo, the little girl's in the world with the doors and stuff like that. I don't know what they were trying to build with that. They cut it all out of the movie. They get these magic green pills that if she takes them, this is a time before, kids were given a ton of pills and Ritalin and ADHD and imaginary friend stuff and all that kind of stuff and mental health things that are so prevalent nowadays. So, as a kid, I didn't really understand what was going on, but if she takes every pill she takes a whole bottle. If she takes the last one, Fred disappears completely. I don't know if that means if he's really dead, if he's sent back to the other reality where the imaginary friends live, or what happens, but she'll never see him again. But she doesn't want to do that yet. The mom hires this big, scary, German, like nurse kind of woman to keep her in the house. Of course, she escapes with the guy. She eventually goes to the wine gala and gets Charles back, who then she screws things up against by making a mud pie for dinner, and she can't get Fred out of her mind, kind of a thing. But when she finds out Charles is yet again cheating on him with that Annabelle girl, the no panties girl from the gala. I guess she just wants to get away from there, and he takes her away to a surreal, scary reality of her old house or something.
And then it goes into Tim Burton land at the end, where she's all the warped doorways and everything.
Well, that's why I say it's very Beetlejuice-like. And even in the there's an alternative ending where it shows them putting her future daughter to bed, and there's a Drop Dead Fred pop-up book, and I think they use scratch music, and they totally used the Beetlejuice theme for that scene, I guess, so they can hey, this is what we're kind of looking forward to the composer. So Beetlejuice was definitely in mind when they made this film.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has that. It's the same type of character where it's a ghost almost, where one's a ghost, one's an imaginary friend, but that's wisecracking and really weird and high strung and I really thought about it, compared it to other characters of that nature. I'm why was this one so much more annoying than the others? I don't know. And even those, I think they all took a warm up period. I think even seeing Beetlejuice for the first time, I was whoa, what the hell is this guy all about?
Is it because he's British? Is that what this is about, James?
Hey, my DNA results, I'm 60% British, so...
So you're allowed to make fun of other British people. I get it.
I mean, I love British comedy. I love, Monty Python.
Yeah. This Rik Mayall guy definitely feels like a Monty Python regular, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's a capable actor. If you put him in something else... Well, like I said, I haven't seen his other stuff, so maybe I'd like that.
But yeah, I want to talk about the surreal moments, because that's where the interesting parts of the movie come in. When she goes to the house that's bigger than it is, because it's supposed to be her seeing it as a child would. When you go back to some place you saw as a kid, it's much smaller than it was because you're much bigger, kind of a thing. And she has to pretty much fight her demons, like her husband, who's, they make his stupid car fly away when they rip out the hood ornament. Standing up to the mother. It's a lot of scenes about standing up to people, having an alter ego, standing up to yourself and kind of forgetting the past, kind of a thing, and moving forward. And she was using Drop Dead Fred as a crutch, but now she can speak out on her own, kind of a thing. So that's why I'm not really sure if it's more for kids or for adults, because it's a very kid message. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Fred that I'd like to talk about is this one right here.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait to talk about Freddy Got Fingered one day.
Now that's a weird movie.
Yeah, I got up there. I have the soundtrack, a hat from the movie, which you're supposed to wear upside down. The DVD poster, because I was big. This is the first rated R movie I saw in theaters. I just turned 17, and I worked there. I say that a lot. And they wouldn't let me see it because it's rated R. But I love Drop Dead Fred. I believe a combination of Freddy Got Fingered and Drop Dead Fred would be excellent. Yo, Tom Green is Drop Dead Fred nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
I'm ready to make this reboot, and you take the disgustingness of Freddy Got Fingered and mix it with the higher level stuff of this movie, and I think you got your good Drop Dead Freddy Got Fingered.
Drop Dead Freddy Got Fingered.
Drop Dead Fred Got Fingered. I think that'd be good.
Charles? Charlie?
I'm being creative? Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some work to do.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
You're fired! You're fucking fired, Bob! Clean out your locker at the club, Bob. You're fucking fired! I don't fucking care what he told you, okay? I'm talking about 40 million fucking Deutschmark here, Bob! 40 million fucking Deutschmark!